Are the judges ready? I believe the FFA Creed by E.M. Tiffany. I believe in the future of agriculture, with a faith born not of words, but of deeds. Achievements won by present and past generations of agriculturists. In the promise of better days through better ways. Even as the better things we now enjoy have come to us from the struggles of former years. I believe that to live and work on a good farm or to be engaged in other agricultural pursuits is pleasant as well as challenging. For I know the joys and discomforts of agricultural life and hold an inborn fondness to those associations which, even in hours of discouragement, I cannot deny. I believe in leadership from ourselves and respect from others. I believe my own ability to work efficiently and think clearly, with such knowledge and skill as I can secure, and in the ability of progressive agriculturists to serve our own and the public's interests in producing and marketing the product of our toil. I believe in less dependence on begging and more power in bargaining, in the life abundant and enough honest wealth to help make it so, for others as well as myself, and less need for charity and more of it when needed, in being happy myself and playing square with those whose happiness depends upon me. I believe that American agriculture can and will hold true to the best traditions of our national life, and that I can exert an influence in my home and community which will stand solid for my part in that inspiring task. Thank you.
The first question is, how can we have better days through better ways?
We can have better days through better ways, for doing the right things for the right reasons, so that we can have the better days and feeling great to ourselves. Thank you.
What can you do as a middle schooler in agriculture education to exert an influence in your home and community which will stand for your part in that inspiring task?
As a middle schooler, I can exert an influence in my home and community which will stand solid for my spot in that part by always helping others and always volunteering to really show what agriculture is about, and always help others and do what's the right thing, like help in my school.
And our last question is, in what ways do you think an agricultural career, whoops, thanks.
Thank you. Did I walk up?
All right, our next Creed speaker is going to be Zaya Courtney from Clarks Fork.
The FFA Creed by E.M. Tiffany. I believe in the future of agriculture with the faith born not of words but of deeds. Achievements won by the present and past generations of agriculturalists in the promise of better days through better ways, even as the better things we now enjoy have come to us from the struggles of former years. I believe that to live and work on a good farm or to be engaged in other agricultural pursuits is pleasant as well as challenging, for I know the joys and discomforts of agricultural life and hold an inborn fondness for those associations, which even in hours of discouragement, I cannot deny. I believe in leadership from ourselves and respect from others. I believe in my own ability to work efficiently and think clearly with such knowledge and skill as I can secure, and in the ability of progressive agriculturalists to serve our own and the public interests in producing and marketing the product of our toil. I believe in less dependence on begging and more power in bargaining, in the life abundant and enough honest wealth to help make it so for others as well as myself, in less need for charity and more of it when needed, in being happy myself and playing square with those whose happiness depends upon me. I believe that American agriculture can and will hold true to the best traditions of our national life, and that I can exert and influence in my home and community, which will stand solid for my part in that inspiring task. Thank you.
Your first question is, how can we have better days through better ways?
We can have better days through better ways with coming up with more efficient ways to get our work done. Whether that be we can get it done faster and get it sold quicker, or we can make more money off of it, making it so our days are easier.
What can you do as a middle schooler in agricultural education to exert an influence in your home and in your community which will stand solid for your part in that inspiring task?
Things I can do as a middle schooler in agricultural education to help influence in my home and community, which will stand solid for my part that inspiring task, are talking about the FFA organization, 4-H, getting to be involved in those things. Personally, I show pigs for 4-H, and I have a bunch of other indoor projects I can do, and I feel like that can help promote those organizations. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our next Creed speaker is Peyton French from Hobson.
The FFA Creed by E.M. Tiffany. I believe in the future of agriculture, with a faith born not of words, but of deeds. Achievements won by the present and past generations of agriculturalists in the promise of better days through better ways, even as the better things we now enjoy have come to us from the struggles of former years. I believe that to live and work on a good farm or to be engaged in other agricultural pursuits is pleasant as well as challenging. For I know the joys and discomforts of agricultural life and hold an inborn fondness for those associations which, even in hours of discouragement, I cannot deny. I believe in less dependence on begging and more power in bargaining, in the life abundant and enough honest wealth to help make it so for others as well as ourselves, and less need for charity and more of it when needed, in being happy myself and playing square with those whose happiness depends upon me. I believe that American agriculture can and will hold true to the best traditions of our national life, and that I can exert an influence in my home and community, which will stand solid for my part in that inspiring task. Thank you.
Your first question is, it's on now, thank you. How can we have better days through better ways?
I think that there are multiple ways that we can have better days through better ways. A good example is this is, I think, the Dirty 30s. Here is a time where we were struggling with a lot of agriculture issues. We couldn't figure out how to use the land right, which was causing us to have a struggle with agriculture. I think that is a good example to figure out how to use better days through better ways, because using our previous things that we have overcome to figure out what we can do now is a really good way to fix things like that.
What can you do as a middle schooler in agriculture education to exert an influence in your home and in your community which will stand solid for your part in that inspiring task?
I think a really good way to do that is to get involved in agriculture as much as you can. For me, that's pretty easy because I do live on a ranch. So I do 4-H, I do BPA, FFA, I engage at my house. So when I get a chance to do things that can help other people learn this experience, I do as much as I can just to help them figure out, like, hey, this can help.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Just take this off. And so do I just give this back to the...
Yeah, that would be great.
Let me turn it off.
All right, our final junior creed speaker is Mackay Cochran from Shepherd.
Ready? The FFA Creed by E.M. Tiffany. I believe in the future of agriculture, with a faith born not of words, but of deeds. Achievements won by the present and past generations of agriculturists, in the promise of better days through better ways, even as the better things we now enjoy have come to us from the struggles of former years. I believe that to live and work on a good farm or to be engaged in other agricultural pursuits is pleasant as well as challenging, for I know the joys and discomforts of agricultural life and hold an inborn fondness for those associations which, even in hours of discouragement, I cannot deny. I believe in leadership from ourselves and respect from others. I believe in my own ability to work efficiently and think clearly with such knowledge and skill as I can secure, and in the ability of progressive agriculturists to serve our own and the public interest in producing and marketing the product of our toil. I believe in less dependence on begging and more power in bargaining, in life abundant and enough honest wealth to help make it so for others as well as myself, and less need for charity and more of it when needed, in being happy myself and playing square with those whose happiness depends upon me. I believe that American agriculture can and will hold true to the best traditions of our national life, and that it can exert and influence in my home and community, which will stand solid for my part in that inspiring task. Thank you.
Your first question is, how can we have better days through better ways?
That's a great question. We can have better days through better ways by just being happy and trying to play square with those whose happiness depends upon us, and being respectful to the people who surround us and following the golden rule. Treat others like you would like to be treated.
What can you do as a middle schooler in ag education to exert an influence in your home and in your community, which will stand solid for your part in that inspiring task?
I know a lot of younger kids, such as my friend Hudson, who knows a lot about agriculture, but I can teach him that leadership is the way to go. Doing things without being asked to, and just having a smile on your face and cheering up those who are sad and down. So that is a way I can help the younger youth, by being a middle schooler.
Just a quick announcement. We have a Bronze State FFA Meets Evaluation pin at the tech booth. If you're missing it, please come report to the tech booth. We are also missing a chapter president's pin. If you're missing that, also please come to the tech booth. Thank you.
All right, your first senior Creed speaker is Kate O'Donnell from Shepherd.
The FFA Creed by E.M. Tiffany. I believe in the future of agriculture, with a faith born not of words, but of deeds. Achievements won by the present and past generation of agriculturists. In the promise of better days through better ways, even as the better things we now enjoy have come to us from the struggles of former years. I believe that to live and work on a good farm or to be engaged in other agricultural pursuits is pleasant as well as challenging. For I know the joys and discomforts of agricultural life and hold an inborn fondness for those associations, which, even in hours of discouragement, I cannot deny. I believe in leadership from ourselves and respect from others. I believe in my own ability to work efficiently and think clearly, with such knowledge and skill as I can secure. And in the ability of progressive agriculturalists to serve our own and the public's interests in producing and marketing the product of our toil. I believe in less dependence in begging and more power in bargaining, in the life abundant and enough honest wealth to help make it so, for others as well as myself. In less need for charity and more of it when needed, and being happy myself and playing square with those whose happiness depends upon me. I believe that American agriculture can and will hold true to the best traditions of our national life, and that I can exert an influence in my home and community that will stand solid for my part in that inspiring task. Thank you.
No, I just need it turned on. Thank you. As roads and cities continue to make use of farmlands, what will happen to the farms?
As America is continue to grow and continue to be having a bigger population, roads and cities are taking up our farms. However, if our farms can stand true to what they truly believe in, which states in the FFA Creed that we will stand true to our national life, we can continue and come up with new ideas by being progressive agriculturalists to figure out ways with less farmland to continue to provide for our people and do that.
In your opinion, what is the most challenging issue facing agriculture today?
For me personally, the most challenging issue facing agriculture today is our growing population. And I know a lot of people would say that, but honestly, it's true. There are so many people coming into this world, and there's just not enough ideas that are going to be able to support those people. However, for me personally, I can look at the people around me farming. In Montana, we have a lot of farms. You drive like 10 minutes and bam, there's like 20 farms. And that's how I know that the issues that are coming up in agriculture are going to be solved. And that's how I know that I can always keep true in my heart that I will know that we do need to worry about that, but there are progressive agriculturists out there that are doing what they can to provide for this population.
And your last question, the FFA Creed speaks to the best traditions of our national life. What are some traditions the agriculture industry should maintain despite advancing technology?
So what I've been talking about recently is advancing technology, coming up with new ideas. However, we always need to hold true to what we believe in. As agriculturalists, we need to make sure that we keep our beliefs the same. And the creed was written so long ago, but we can still relate to it today. And that's how I believe agriculture is too. Even though we're going to be advancing and there's new ways and new technologies, we need to hold true to what we believe in. And a few things we can do that. we can continue to look to the older people in our life and figure out what they did on their farms and keep them in our agricultural lives. Another way is that we can learn from the people around us. We can learn their traditions and figure out what we could change or what we need to hold true to do that. Thank you. Oh, it's fine.
And then I'll go up and I will introduce you. All right, next we have Riley Jones from Miles City.
Now I'm good to go up. The FFA Creed by E.M. Tiffany. I believe in the future of agriculture, with a faith born not of words, but of deeds. Achievements won by the present and past generations of agriculturists. In the promise of better days through better ways, even as the better things we now enjoy have come to us from the struggles of former years. I believe that to live and work on a good farm or to be engaged in other agricultural pursuits is pleasant as well as challenging, for I know the joys and discomforts of agricultural life and hold an inborn fondness for those associations which, even in hours of discouragement, I cannot deny. I believe in leadership from ourselves and respect from others. I believe in my own ability to work efficiently and think clearly with such knowledge and skill as I can secure, and in the ability of progressive agriculturists to serve our own and the public interest in producing and marketing the product of our toil. I believe in less dependence on begging and more power in bargaining, in the life abundant, and enough honest wealth to help make it so for others as well as myself, in less need for charity and more of it when needed, in being happy myself and playing square with those whose happiness depends upon me. I believe that American agriculture can and will hold true to the best traditions of our national life, and that I can exert an influence in my home and community, which will stand solid for my part in that inspiring task. Thank you.
Your first question is, as roads and cities continue to make use of farmlands, what will happen to the farms?
I believe what will happen to that the agriculturists of our communities will stand up for themselves, and they will continue the best traditions of our national life and keep the farmland in the family, as well as try and keep it away from those roads and cities. I do realize that things are growing bigger and more push for it is coming, but I also know that American farmland is important to our economy, and keeping that in our traditions, as well as keeping that a good farm as well as a healthy one, will keep the cities from growing into them. Thank you.
In your opinion, what is the most challenging issue facing agriculture today?
I believe some of the most challenging issues facing agriculture today, there is a lot of ag influencers that are against us. You know, social media is kind of a big thing now, and on there you see things all the time that are trying to defund ag, get it down, or even try and change the ways that we are going. But I believe that agriculture is doing its best to push through those challenges. We have people out there that are promoting ag as well to contradict those, and that they might be a difficult task, but it's still something that we can overcome. Thank you.
And your last question. The FFA Creed speaks to the best traditions of our national life. What are some traditions the agriculture industry should maintain despite advancing technology?
I believe that some of the best traditions of our national life, I know technology is continuing to grow, but I think some of the things that are really come to my attention at least, is that one day we were sitting around the counter with my grandfather, and we were talking about all of the woodworking, all the way up to my great-grandfather, his woodworking projects in the house, as well as mine. And it was 3 generations of projects that sat in our house, and I started to come to realize that these were the best traditions of our national life, and they might not just be in agriculture, but they can be in other things as well. It's the fact that we remember my great-grandfather because his bull is sitting on the table right there, and we remember the acts, and we talked about him then. We remember what he did, how he managed, and it just brought his memory back. And so I believe those are the best traditions of our national life, because as technology does continue to grow, those traditions will stay forever. Thank you.
need a little bit. Our third senior Creed speaker is Lauren Anderson from Shepherd.
The FFA Creed by E.M. Tiffany. I believe in the future of agriculture, with a faith born not of words, but of deeds. Achievements won by the present and past generations of agriculturists, and the promise of better days through better ways, even as the better things we now enjoy have come to us from the struggles of former years. I believe that to live and work on a good farm, or to be engaged in other agricultural pursuits, is pleasant as well as challenging. For I know the joys and discomforts of agricultural life, and hold an inborn fondness for those associations which, even in hours of discouragement, I cannot deny. I believe in leadership from ourselves and respect from others. I believe in my own ability to work efficiently and think clearly, with such knowledge and skill as I can secure, and in the ability of progressive agriculturists to serve our own and the public's interest in producing and marketing the product of our toil. I believe in less dependence on begging and more power in bargaining, in the life abundant and enough honest wealth to help make it so, for others as well as myself, and less need for charity and more of it when needed, and being happy myself and playing square with those whose happiness depends upon me. I believe that American agriculture can and will hold true to the best traditions of our national life, and that I can exert an influence in my home and community, which will stand solid for my part in that inspiring task. Thank you. I can.
Cities continue to use, let me start over. As roads and cities continue to make use of farmlands, what will happen to the farms?
As roads and cities continue to use farmlands, I believe that the bonds between people will never change. I know that there may be some conflicts and there may be some disarguments and things that contain conflict, but I think even though there are conflicts, I think FFA stands for so much more than conflicts, and people are so much stronger than conflicts. I think that conversations will be held, and FFA's bonds will be able to bond those people together.
In your opinion, what is the most challenging issue facing agriculture today?
In my opinion, as populations grow, I think that's the most challenging. When I grew up, I was surrounded by agriculture. My grandma and grandpa owned a farm, so I grew up there. I was there all the time. And I had firsthand experience in all of those different work ethics that got put into that. And I got to see what really is agriculture. And I think as populations grow, the work ethic is going to have to become even stronger in being able to produce for all those people.
The FFA Creed speaks to the best traditions of our national life. What are some traditions the agriculture industry should maintain despite advancing technology?
As I said, I got to grow up through agriculture, and I got to see all the different things that go into agriculture. I know there's a whole bunch of procedures that go into agriculture, and the people that get to be involved in those procedures,
definitely grow bonds. So I think being able to just be on a farm and seeing those procedures are great traditions that agriculture has. And I think that even though there may be conflicts in the future, that'll never change. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
All right, and then our final senior creed speaker is Alexa Paceno from Kalispell.
The FFA Creed by E.M. Tiffany. I believe in the future of agriculture, with a faith born not of words, but of deeds. Achievements won by the present and past generations of agriculturalists. In the promise of better days through better ways, even as the better things we now enjoy have come to us from the struggles of former years. I believe that to live and work on a good farm or to be engaged in other agricultural pursuits is pleasant as well as challenging. For I know the joys and discomforts of agricultural life and hold an inborn fondness for those associations which, Even in hours of discouragement, I cannot deny. I believe in leadership from ourselves and respect from others. I believe in my own ability to work efficiently and think clearly with such knowledge and skill as I can secure. And in the ability of progressive agriculturalists to serve our own and the public interest in producing and marketing the product of our toil. I believe in less dependence on begging and more power in bargaining, in the life abundant and enough honest wealth to help make it so for others as well as myself, in less need for charity and more of it when needed, in being happy myself and playing square with those whose happiness depends upon me. I believe that American agriculture can and will hold true to the best traditions of our national life, and that I can exert an influence in my home and community, which will stand solid for my part in that inspiring task. Thank you.
Your first question is, as roads and cities continue to make use of farmlands, what will happen to the farm?
As we continue to build roads and cities and more houses to house our growing community, we have to strive as an agricultural community to constantly learn and try to develop new ways to create more crops and more livestock using less land. These roads and these cities are taking up the agricultural lands that we need to create the food to feed them. With more people and less land, we need to strive to be better farmers and better agriculturalists to serve everyone and everyone equally. Thank you.
In your opinion, what is the most challenging issue facing agriculture today?
There are loads of issues facing agriculture and agriculturalists today. I think the largest issue is uncontrollable weather and never knowing what's coming next. You have hurricanes, droughts, floods, fluctuating prices in your products. You never know whether your crop is going to make a profit or whether you're going to lose a ton of money. You wake up every day and go to bed every night wondering what's going to happen next, praying for the best and just hoping that you can make it through that year. As an agricultural community, we have to be there to help our agriculturalists around us so that they can get what they need from us to continue striving even if they don't have the crop or the livestock that they need that year.
And your last question. The FFA Creed speaks to the best traditions of our national life. What are some traditions the agriculture industry should maintain despite advancing technology?
Even with our advancing technology and things getting easier for us without us keeping our traditions, I think the one tradition that we need to keep is being a strong, humble community. We need to be able to serve our people, but not get too hard-headed about it and not think that, oh, yes, our technology is revolving, but that doesn't mean that we still can be a warm, welcoming family. We can be there to help other people when they need it or when they ask for it.
Let's give our final presenters a round of applause for those awesome speeches. Yeah, great job, guys. We are about to start our American Indian program, so that should be starting up shortly.
I'm just gonna go sit over here and look at it.
No, you're totally fine. No rush or anything.
I think we need a microphone. I'm not sure if they ask questions.
Anthony, I'll see you tonight.
Yeah.
I love you.
Okay.
And I'll see you later.
Well, best of luck. Hopefully, I give out the award for Creed.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I still get to say it on stage, right?
Okay. Hi. This is my mom. Let's clear on. There's 3 judges. So here is the first one. You guys all have a pen? I can go and grab. I need a pen. Okay, I can grab it. Here's that first chapter is going to be Saint Libre. And then, yeah, feel free to look over the rubric. Okay. I think so. I think, yeah. I think so. I think the rules are just up here. Okay, I'll go grab some pens. I got some flyers for you guys then. Yeah, Blair chapter. Here's the pens I have. I don't know if they work or not. And this microphone is live, so if you guys want to ask questions, feel free to do so. Yeah, our first chapter is Saint Libre. Set up. And here's extra rubrics if you guys need them for the other things.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, if there's in the, or here, we'll just grab them out of the folder, or we could just grab them all now if we wanted.
Alrighty, are the judges ready?
There's no thought for the questions for the rubric, so should we ask him or do you not want us to? I don't think so. You don't want us to? Okay.
All right, we are going to begin the American Indian program. Our first chapter presenting today is the St. Libre FFA.
Before we start, we want to remind everyone to stay clear of the teepee, keep a safe distance away. Please and thank you.
And it looks like they do have a presentation for up here, so, and it is connected.
No, but it's down there. We could rubric it. Use it in the rubric,
Wait.
right? We could deduct points. I guess it's not in the rubrics. It's just in the directions.
I see. Right? No, that's okay, because I was looking at that too, just saying, what the heck?
Are the judges ready for the first team? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have it.
Hello, we are the St. Libre chapter from Ashland, Montana. We are here to demonstrate and explain the history and process of raising a teepee.
Kaha, Ashland, Montana, Kokagawuk, Biluk, Ashitahila, Ala Patua, Kodia Awowiwuk.
Pivot Ishiv, Nasofota it's a Sofota it's a Domonanda in a Hotova it's a St. Libre chapter, Nohene, Naho it's a Nika no it's a Nato in a.
Hello, I would like to introduce we, the speakers. My name is Alarian Brady.
And my name is Marita Foote. Our advisor is Joletta Spang, and we are so excited to begin.
Brief Cheyenne history. The Cheyenne tribe originated from the Great Plains, and they are also known as Titistas. Titistas are split into two groups. Southern, and Northern. We, St. Lebre FFA, come from the Northern Cheyenne Reservation. The Southern Cheyenne currently reside in Oklahoma. According to tribal history, during the 17th century, the Cheyenne had been driven away, the Assiniboine, from the Great Lakes region to present-day Minnesota, present-day Minnesota, and North Dakota, where they established villages. Motsoe'ev, sweet medicine, is the Cheyenne man, prophet, who predicted the coming of Vehot, in English meaning white man. Sweet medicine was named after one of the sacred plant medicines that are used in ceremonies by various different tribes. This prophecy made the Tzitzis replace their earth lodges with portable homes called teepees.
Cheyenne teepee, Vet. The Cheyenne teepee is an important part of our culture and is still used to this day. Traditional respect is an important part of the process. Teepees are very sacred to our tribes. There are 3 types of vet, 12 foot being the smallest, 14 to 16 foot in the middle, and 18 to 22 feet being the largest. They all have different uses, 12 foot being used for a couple just starting out, and 14 to 16 foot are used for social activities or it is occupied by a small family. The 18 to 22 feet teepees are used for ceremonial practices by societies.
Cheyenne teepee explained. The Cheyenne teepee is a traditional teepee, and it has a 4-step ritual direction protocol. The teepee always faces the east. You enter from the left, and you exit out the right. And you would put a stick by the door, like a cane, for example, and you would knock on the pole with the stick to announce you are entering. Cheyenne teepees are plain and usually not painted, as opposed to Crow style. There is usually a space left on the bottom so it does not get stuffy because of the campfire in the middle of the teepee. There are a few differences between Cheyenne and Crow styles. One is the space on the bottom. Crow style tacks it down tightly, while Cheyenne is more loose.
We did not have the chance to put up our crow teepee, but we will be explaining how it is put up. Crow teepee, Ashtihele. It is our second mother. Each part of the teepee represents something, given to them by the great owl to protect from the elements. The stakes that hold the teepee to the ground were given by the badgers to keep enemies out. The pins that hold the teepee together were given by the eagle and represent the wings of the eagle protecting their tribe. Traditionally, the women owned the teepees. The doors always face towards the east where the sun rises and new things come from.
The crow teepee itself is usually made out of 14 to 16 buffalo skins. Crow teepees are always kept white to represent purity, unless told otherwise by a vision. Teepees are around 18 feet tall. A traditional crow teepee has 21 poles. The poles can be anywhere up to 30 feet long, depending on what they're being used for. They come from lodgepole pine trees. The door represents the grizzly bear and covers the entrance while scaring away evil.
There are 4 base poles and crow teepee pole meanings. There are 4 base poles. One represents a season, spring, summer, fall, and winter. 4 of the poles represent the 10 moons that are seen as in the mother's womb. The 3 poles at the back of the teepee are the 2 assistant poles and the chief of the lodge. There are 2 poles on either side of the door representing the wolf and mountain lion. They guard the doorway and won't allow evil to come into the lodge. The 2 flat poles represent the coyote and the owl.
We would like to thank Mr. Bart Bailey and Joletta Spang for making this possible.
We also want to thank Drew Littlelight and Gladys Barr for saying the Crow and Cheyenne introduction. Thank you very much.
St. Lebre FFA, out.
Alrighty, our next chapter is the Villiers FFA, so let's give them a round of applause.
Does this work? Okay. Okay. Wait for everybody to get on. Okay. Evening, everybody. So to start our presentation today, we will all join hands and dance a short round dance to the right of the stage. Anyone is welcome to join in the dance circle as we celebrate life as one. If you don't know how to round dance, it's as simple as we all join hands in a huge circle and move in a clockwise manner. Also, don't be embarrassed to dance and not know what you're doing. It's pretty easy as soon as you get it. If you'd like to go to the right of the stage and join in if you'd like.
Boy, his name is Dennis Willier. He's over to the side of the south booth over here. A little boy by the name of Dennis Willier.
No. Jonas. Okay. Oki nistini daniku sitikum pumikamata achki. Hello, my name is Thunder Horsewoman. My English name is Caitlin. Here behind me stands some of the Villiers FFA chapter. We are here to present the Native American way of dancing and a way of prayer. Today we will have two of our girls dancing the style of jingle.
Hello, my name is Tristan Valdez. I'm the Vice President of the Villiers FFA chapter. And you can see beside me you have Caitlin and Rylea. Rylea has more of an old-fashioned or old-style regalia, and Caitlin has more of a modern regalia. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jonas Horn. I am the president of the Valier FFA chapter. I'm also a member of the Blackfeet Nation. My Blackfeet name is Sa Makoy, which means wolf medicine. We're gonna talk a little bit about the jingle dress that you guys just saw dance. So a little bit about the jingle dress is that it first came to be in 1918. The story is that the dress was first seen in a dream. A medicine man's granddaughter grew sick, and as the man slept in his Indian spirit guides came to him and told him to make a jingle dress for his little girl. They said if the child danced in it, the dress would heal her, and as the night went on, the dress eventually did heal her sickness. The story in the dress came from the Ojibwe tribe in Canada. His healing affected the Native Americans as you listen. Oh, I'm sorry. This healing dress was used for the new healing movement after the huge influenza pandemic that really affected the Native Americans. As you listen to the cones hitting each other, think of it healing your soul, or it also could be translated into the sound of rain. The reason for the more modern look compared to the traditional is to show how looks have changed throughout the years and how fancier the dresses have become. Thank you.
Can we please get a round of applause for the Dance to the Valier FFA?
Okay, so now I will talk about the interconnection between agriculture and Native American ways. The prayers were very special to Native Americans. Native Americans used natural resources in every aspect of their lives, and we still do. They used every use of every animal, plants, etc. One of the very plants that we still use in our everyday lives is sweetgrass. Here, I have a braid of sweetgrass. Sweetgrass is used in prayers and ceremonies, and it is used to heal the soul. We light one end and bring the smoke across our body and back to our heart. So now I will demonstrate on how to use the sweetgrass. So I'm gonna light one end, and you see there's smoke coming up off of it. So now we'll take the smoke, hold it. Bring it across my body and back to the heart. And you do that on each side. You bring it down your legs. As you're praying, you want to think of, basically it's like just whatever you want to really pray for, and pray for your siblings, your family. Maybe you want to do good on a test. Okay. And that is basically what you use sweetgrass for. You're just healing your soul and definitely praying for whatever you really need to pray for. So, yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. Thank you for our time, as we have shown you our culture in two different aspects, the dances and one way of prayer. Are there any further questions? Thank you.
Awesome job, guys. All right, so we have one last presenter, and that is Angelina Toinita from the Little Bighorn FFA. So I think if you just once you press your space bar, it'll go to the next slide. Okay? And then you can adjust that however you like.
Before I start my presentation, I would like to acknowledge the ancestral lands that we stand on today as I give my presentation. I am from the Little Bighorn FFA chapter from Lodgegrass, Montana, located on the Crow Reservation. I am a young woman enrolled on the Crow Indian Reservation. I am a young Native woman involved in Montana FFA. I am a Native agriculturalist aware of the rich agriculture in life. I am Angelina Toinita. As I begin my presentation, I would like to start off with a story. The story of the sacred tobacco seed, tobacco being one of the only significant crops of the Crow. Crow oral tradition lends religious validity to this separation of the Crow and the Hidatsa. Their narratives relate how the two leaders had fasted at Devil's Lake and each had received a vision. No intestines received a vision that told them to seek the seed of the sacred tobacco. One location of the tobacco, he and his followers followers would be in the center of the world, the best place for his people. On the other hand, Red Scout would receive the vision instructing him to settle with his people on the bluffs above the river and to plant corn on the floodplains below. After the initial vision, Noah Intestines and his followers began a long trek west. Eventually, the Crow people stopped near Chief Mountain in present-day Montana, and there Noah Intestine fasted again. On the fourth day, he received a second vision, telling him he was not yet at his destination. The area was too cold. Then the Crow people moved south, passing by Salt Lake, Utah. After a while, Noah Intestines and his group reached the Canadian River in Oklahoma, called the Arrowhead River by the Crow. Here, Noah Intestines fasted again and was told to move north. So the Crow people headed north, following the Missouri to the Plate River, then trekking to the Powder River, which they followed north until they reached the Bighorn Mountains in northern Wyoming. To the Crow, the highest peak on the crest of the Bighorn Mountains is called the Extended Mountains, and it is considered the center of the world. On this peak, Noah Intestine fasted for the fourth time and received a vision telling him that he was in the right place, that the tobacco seed could be found at the bottom as he looked to the base of the mountain. He saw the seed as twinkling star. The Crow people then made their home in Montana and Wyoming, with the Bighorn Mountains as their heartland. Finishing my story, I would now like to go into Native people and agriculture. Long before the arrival of Europeans, indigenous populations protected local ecosystems and preserved biodiversity through land management and farming practices. European settlers did not arrive at an untouched land. And an idea known as the Prism myth of the early Americans, Charles Mann, the author of 1491 New Revelations of the Americas before Columbus. Note how the Prism land myth obscures the reality that indigenous Americans actively shape the environment around them. As we rethink American history, we can thank indigenous Americans for the advancement practice that defines sustainable agriculture and stewardship. Going into the symbolism of agriculture to Native people, agriculture is always and has played a huge role in the wealth, health, and prosperity of Native American people. Early on, Native Americans progressed from hunting and gathering towards farming, often planting some of the wild plants they harvest in their own gardens. Native Americans in North America are given credit for the domestication of many crops we know today, such as corn, squash, beans, tomatoes, potatoes, and tobacco, as well as several other berries. These people had a great knowledge of the land and soil health, as were the first ones to practice the idea of sustainable agriculture. Upon European contact, Native taught colonists many of their agriculture practices and traded grain, fruit, and animals with them. Europeans took many things back to Europe with them, such as tobacco, corn, and turkey, and adopted many of their cultural practices, such as the Three Sisters. The natives also received crops and livestock from the colonists, such as wheat, horses, cattle, and hogs. Upon listening to this, it led me to truly believe that Native Americans really valued ag literacy, a person who understands and can communicate the source of value of agriculture as if it affects our quality of life. As Native people, they respect the land. Native people survived off the land for generations, never taking too much. As for my people, the Apsalagat people, like all cultures, a lesson in Apsalagat food and etiquette is a lesson in Apsalagat culture. When most Montanans think of Indian food, they think of fry bread. Fry bread isn't traditional at all. Apsalagat did not have ingredients for fry bread until the government began dispersing rations in the summer of 1869. This was a result of the land treaty of Fort Laramie in 1868, when the Apsalagat land base was reduced from 33 million acres to about 10 million acres of land. In return for this land, the United States government agreed to educate and feed Apsalagat children in perpetuity. Sorry. Although way before any of this, the Apsalaga natives had many ways to utilize the land in order to survive, using some of the same traditions and methods today as they moved out of that dark era in their lives. For example, gathering. The Apsalaga enjoyed picking fruit, often as a family outing for the women. They picked chokecherries, sarvice berries, elderberries, plums, gooseberries, wild grapes, and occasionally huckleberries. These items are eaten fresh and can also be dried. To dry fruit, the Apsalaga pounded the berries first and then dried in the sun or an oven or a fruit dryer. To dry in the oven, place fruit in a sheet in the oven for about 140 degrees. The second being hunting. Apsalaga hunt and eat buffalo, deer, and elk. Antelope was never a favorite. Buffalo is hunted in the Bighorn Mountains from a herd the tribe has managed since the 1930s, especially after the slaughter of the bison, where the Secretary of the Interior, Columbus Delano, 1873, stated, "The civilization of the Indian is impossible, while the buffalo remain upon the plains." Elsewhere in America, Indian independence had crumbled after food sources were destroyed on the plains. That meant the bison. In the late 1800s, hordes of hunters fanned out to slaughter the herds and sell the hides and bones. Army men like General Philip Sheridan applauded. "They are destroying the Indians," commissary, he said. "Let them kill, skin, and sell until the buffaloes are exterminated." Upon seeing a quote in the Museum of the American Indian in Washington, D.C., that I would like to share with you today. "I love the land and the buffalo. Soldiers cut down my timber, they killed my buffalo, and when I see that, my heart feels like it is bursting. This is our country. We were happy. Then you came." After the slaughter of the bison, the Apsalaga people learned to use farming to their advantage after not being able to hunt the buffalo. So the Apsalaga people would farm plants off the land, including wild vegetables like onions, carrots, and many other items, including it to their diets, along with rhubarb, turnips, parsley, and sego lily, along with bitterroot, all of which roots they dug using what is called a digging stick. Even though there aren't many examples of crow farming, I know how much our people have adapted to the change in this new day and age. So that brings me to NAF. The Native American Agriculture Fund is something commonly overlooked, but some people who work for this great organization truly see and value our people. The Native American Agriculture Fund provides grants to eligible organizations for business assistance, agriculture education, technical support, and advocacy. Service to support Native farmers and ranchers, the charitable trust was created by the settlement of the landmark Keepseagull versus Fishlack class action lawsuit. NAF is the largest organization devoted solely to serving Native American farming and ranching community. Their mission being healthy lands, healthy people, healthy economies. I truly believe in their mission as it is the future of agriculture. As for my love for agriculture, as I never grew up under the influence of agriculture until I joined FFA. As an FFA member, I truly learned the value of agriculture, and that brings me to one of the code of ethics, promoting diversity in our organization. Through this event, I truly see that they are promoting diversity through Montana FFA. I wish there was more events in other states just like this one, as this will probably be the final time I will stand on this stage to present to you guys. I really do hope that you loved my presentation that I gave you. Thank you. I will now be open to questions.
Thank you very much. We don't have any questions. Thank you.
Close my computer. I had a lot to say.
I'm sorry. Thank you to our American Indian program presenters. Madam Secretary, do you have a record of any new or unfinished business which shall properly come before this fourth and final delegate business session?
Make sure to attend the fourth and final session tomorrow starting at 9 a.m., where you will get the chance to see the retiring addresses from your state parliamentarian, Anthony Hernandez, and your state president, Brighton Lane. We will also get to see the official delegate business report be read and watch the new 2023-2024 Montana FFA State Officer Team get elected.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Does any member know of any new or unfinished business which shall properly come before this meeting? Seeing none, can I have a motion to adjourn the final delegate meeting? Perfect. It has been moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting. To the delegates present, only the delegates, please. Please rate your wooden placards. All right. And all opposed, please raise your wooden placards. Phil, get out of here. All right, looks like this meeting is adjourned.